Save some money. So we're going into topic 2, folks. The ripple effect that Derek, I keep saying his name wrong, sorry.
Chauvin.
Just call him the killer.
I thought that was OJ, but anyway.
This trial, I mean, people don't want to admit it, but it had a lot to do with the similarities of OJ. It was a lot faster. But man, there's a lot of similarities.
I was worried.
So we're gonna talk about the impact our community. Who want to go first? I won't even start. Who want to go first? Who just been?
I'll start this. Look at. OJ was guilty, right? Okay. We all knew that. Okay. We all knew that.
I know what I can't go. I can't rock with that because I don't know.
Come on. Don't make us feel bad.
No. The reason why I say that because I don't. Who was there? We cannot 100% say. We can all have ideas, but we cannot really just say he's guilty.
I'll end that whole discussion with one thing. How was his shoe prints there? So them ugly ass Bruno Mali shoes.
Okay, now, all right, now, when you want to talk about that, who found the shoe? Who found the shoe? Who did all that investigation?
Before
okay.
All right, then that's the reason why it got off, because of that sloppy investigation.
Okay,
that wasn't sloppy. That part was on.
Okay, we're gonna roll back to that because I'm gonna bring.
We'll roll back to that, but let's get on about that.
Right, let me.
Okay, go ahead, man.
I'm just gonna, because there's always the naysayers, there's always the other side, there are always supporters for both, right? So in OJ's situation, there's the people that said he was guilty and the people that say he was not guilty. In this situation, the people that say he was guilty, and there was people that saying he was not guilty. Regardless, of what we think right here, there's people that were saying that. In OJ's situation, the general consensus was he was guilty. Like that was the general consensus. Is this one, he was guilty. But it's all about what you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. As Johnny Cochran said, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. Right. Beyond a reasonable doubt. That caused doubt. Mm-hmm. And in I didn't watch the trials. I ain't even paying attention to it because it's more just media hype as opposed to the actual family getting closure. You know what I mean? That was the unfortunate aspect of it, just like the OJ Simpson trial. Like instead of the actual family getting closure, it was more of the media hype and this is what we're doing and this and that. And then obviously like there's another situation that happened, right after. But it's just the impact that it had on the community is good because it kept it calm, because you can always feel the tension of everything starting to boil. And there was tension. And the thing that I disliked was we had, one of our representatives here in California fly out there and, on the front line with the protesters saying to get confrontational if he was acquitted, quote unquote, get confrontational if he's acquitted. Now that was our representative here in California, Maxine Waters. And I thought that was very, not necessarily, of course, we're all kind of thinking it like people, need a wake-up call, but you're a representative. Like if you're telling people that you can't incite riots, don't incite. Don't.
She didn't say riots, so she said confrontational. So you can take it a couple of ways with that.
Yeah. And it's all about how you interpret it, right?
Okay.
When I heard it, I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go punch a cop. But also too, when you're hearing the other side, it's like when I hear people think, I'm making my own decision. So it's kind of like just the general consensus of you're saying this and people are going to do it is just wrong. So, just the fact that it was more of a media circus, just in comparison to the OJ thing and this one, it was just a media circus. It was good for the community. It was good for the family to get closure because regardless of whether they can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, which I don't know all the facts, obviously from my eye test, he killed them, in my eyes, that's what it looked like to me. But then, beyond a reasonable doubt, it's not about what you see, it's what you could prove, and they were able to get it. And thankfully it caused some calm and hopefully some peace for the family. I'm thinking about the family, you know what I mean? Like, they're the ones who are the ones hurting. Like, direct impact to you, direct impact to me is far removed from what the family was going through. You know, and I don't know how you guys felt about this, but the Raiders posted that tweet, I can breathe after the yeah. So like, I know I think it was George Floyd's brother who said that he wasn't offended by it. And for the people that got offended by it, it's kind of like, look at they're not trying to make a joke about it. They're trying to make like, because it is. I'm thinking from the family's aspect, like, he's guilty. We're never gonna have him back, but this guy got his justice. You know what I mean? So that's my sort of you know, mindset on that.
So how about you, Charles? Because I know you've been thinking. I've seen your posts on Facebook, and I know you got a lot of steam ready for it. So that's why I had to reach out to you. I was like, if anybody want to talk, I know you want to.
Well, the effect on the community, the Black community, yeah, it was impactful because we're used to it not going our way. You know, that's why so many people speaking of the OJ trial. That's why so many Black people rejoice. They knew he was guilty, and they knew OJ was no longer really truly connected with the Black community. But for the first time, they saw a Black man get off of a murder of 2 white people. And that's unheard of. So that's where the cheering was coming from. And with us, so we're like, well, damn, are we going to see a white man go to prison for killing a Black man? You know, and that's the whole thing we were waiting on. And even with all the evidence that was against Chauvin, we still had that feeling like, oh shit, here we go again with this bullshit. You know, and I was like, wow, man. I mean, you look at the makeup of the jury, you're like, wow, 8 whites, like 2 of them were alternates. I'm like, what if someone has an agenda? What if someone says, well, I heard all the evidence, but still, it could have been the fentanyl, it could have been the methamphetamine, it could have been the carbon dioxide from the damn, the truck, the police car. I was waiting for that to come out from somebody. So when I heard all 3 guilty, I was like, shit. I was like, wow, okay, this is, and it's sad that we have to celebrate that to something that which should be so, given to us, anybody as an American, because all the evidence pointed against him. Like, we saw the dude sit on his neck, but we're cheering because we don't hardly ever get justice like that, if at all. So I think the impact, it's going to be short-lived though, especially if he doesn't get enough time when he gets sentenced in 8 weeks. So that's the other thing I'm worried about, like how much he's going to get. I think about 20 years is what I'm thinking. Some people think more, some people think less, of course. But it was a relief. So, and getting back to the Raider post from the owner, Mike Davis, I think, he said he's not going to change the tweet or whatever, the post. And I'm like, dude, this isn't about you though. If it's uncomfortable to other people, just say, okay, well, maybe I'll take it down, or say we can breathe, something like that, because I Can Breathe was like the New York police response to when Eric Gardner got killed. Right. That was their comeback.
Yeah, they were trolling him. Yeah.
So I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Right, and that's what a lot of people got pissed about, because they thought he was reiterating that, which of course he wasn't. But I think the optics of it was like, wow, damn, is that how you coming at us, Mike? I'm a Raider fan, and so I think his defiance of saying he's not going to take it down made it look worse. Like, dude, just take it down, or just replace it with something. Call your PR people, have them come up with something, and that would have helped a lot of things out. But like I said, Floyd's brother wasn't bothered by it, so I was okay with that after that. But we say, yeah, it was a good thing for the community, but then like a half hour before the verdict was read, the sister Micaiah Wright, she gets gunned down, which is a totally different situation. But it still happened, and something else happened after that. In what was it, Memphis? Was it Will? The dude that was getting served a search warrant or something, and he got shot and killed, something like that.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah. So it's cool if that meant that was the end of all this shit, but we all know it's not the end of all this shit. But we'll take this small victory right now, and that's all I can say on that.
And how about you, Will? I'm gonna say something. I wanted to give y'all some.
The thing is, this whole thing, the way I look at it is, I was happy, you know, no. I said, yeah, I was kind of happy that finally, you know, they, man, with the jail. But what's so messed up about it is like the whole world had to march, had to have video, and then they still had, that should have been an open and shut case. We all saw that. But then black folks got to do all this, got to shake heaven and hell in order to get a fucking verdict. And that's what pissed me off. And everybody jumping out in the street, celebrating when we sat up there and we got other people. Look, remember, do you remember Tamir Rice? The little kid. Look, just remember that. And just think about, here we are, we still got stuff going on. We got Casey Goodson, had a Subway, they shot him. He had a Subway sandwich in his hand. Okay, Columbus, Ohio. Now you got Columbus, Ohio, Andre Hill, cell phone in his hand, shot, Columbus, Ohio. Now Columbus, Ohio got the other little girl shot, and they out there marching, everybody thinking it's marching about that. They're not only marching about that. You still got a man with a Subway sandwich in his hand dead. You got a man with a cell phone in his hand dead in the same city. And what, Columbus, Ohio ain't number that big. You see what I'm saying? So what it is just like, okay, now you talk about OJ. Everybody celebrate OJ. Everybody celebrate got off. Look, I don't know. Is this PG or what? Because I'm just getting emotional now. No. So, but what I'm saying is like, look,
this is Raider X.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, don't nobody give a fuck about OJ. I could give a damn. That wasn't about OJ. Yeah. That was about years and years of suppression of seeing some of my brothers who I grew up with. We growing up in the hood. They get caught with selling weed, dope, whatever it is. Pac-Man, J1 gets sent away for 13 years for stuff like that. You know, and now we see in a speedy trial, you get this man 3 weeks on the stand. How many of y'all know some of our brothers done got jammed up? They get a 2-second court case?
Yeah.
2-second court, but you get this man, we got film, we got everything. You get this man 3 weeks. And what I'm saying, and everybody, you know, happy. I'm glad, you know, everybody, you know, but there ain't no time to celebrate. Because first of all, you know, we still, right after he got, right after George Floyd got killed, you got what, Dante Wright? You got Dante Wright, and this woman hollering taser, taser, taser. But
yeah,
you're trained. You're trained. Right. Me, I'm supposed to make a mistake like that. You don't make a mistake like that. Okay, let's take it in sports. You get a guy, you know, okay, they just brought him off the practice squad. And then they throw a bomb to him and he drop it. And everybody ain't gonna, you know, like, well, you know, they came off the practice squad. When you get Odell Beckham Jr. drop it, it's gonna be all around the media and everything else. Why? Because he's supposed to catch it. Right. Just like with this lady here, but she wasn't supposed to make that mistake. I know, but so what I'm saying, I guess I'm off the subject, but anyway, the bottom line is,
I just want to keep us on topic. That I'm going to talk about that topic. But
okay, go ahead.
On what's the impact of this verdict to our communities? Because the thing is, I mean, I really want to know, because the thing is, it's like the people out there that are watching, right? They all over the place, right? Right? Because to me, I felt fearful to know what the verdict was. I didn't want to look for it, because I was like, it's going to be the same thing, you know, that I'm always expecting, right? But somebody had to tell me. I asked, but I didn't want to go search out the thing, and I was hoping that this man did a criminal act, and he was going to get prosecuted for that criminal act. Like, it's video of him killing somebody, right? And there's no denying that. And I didn't like what the defense was talking about, all these drugs and stuff like that. I didn't appreciate that part, but I really want to know, like, what can we expect next from this impact? I'm like, because the thing is, I didn't celebrate, because I already know that wasn't really, I wouldn't say justice. That was more
Throwing you a bone. He threw us a bone. That's all it is.
I mean,
throw a dog a bone.
I think they finally balanced the understanding that everything you do does impact your community. I mean, I think that's what I saw, that they were like, wait up, because before they were like, we just want to get this person free to do whatever you want to do, live his life. And it's like, you don't understand that people are angry and it's building up. And I was more like, like, thank God that people didn't act a damn fool after in the street celebrating, because sometimes that celebration turns into some craziness. And I'm glad the whole entire world did not resort to let's burn down some shit anyway type shit. I don't agree with that.
But my thing is,
yeah,
that to me, I don't even worry about that. They're gonna do what they gotta do. Because the whole time while we sitting up there doing that, remember, down in Florida, they say they passing laws. You can't even get together and protest now.
Yeah.
They in Texas, they doing it. In Michigan, they doing it. See, while we sitting here doing all this stuff here, they passing laws. See, and what you say, how is it going to affect us? What they're doing, they waiting to make sure this ain't gonna happen again. Okay. They're gonna stop you from voting. They're gonna stop you from protesting. They're taking away your voice. This is the effect it's gonna have on our community.
Okay, so what would you suggest we do to counteract that? Because the thing is, things are happening, but it ain't like we don't have any power. I mean, we saw this verdict that showed us that we do have some power. So, I mean, what would you suggest that we do? Because a lot of people on a lot of shows, they get on, they talk about this is what they're doing to us, right? As like,
right.
So, but I'm saying we have power. What do we do?
And that's what I'm talking about. We gotta know what's happening. We gotta know what's happening. Okay, now my dad used to always, there's a cause, there's an effect. Now, what did the Sanchez and all them do stand up in front of the media today? Talking about, if you do this, you're going to jail. Talking about protesting. Now, how did we really get Chauvin, put the pressure on Chauvin through going out there protesting? How did we get people out to vote? We went out there, we protested. So what did they do? They turn around and they passed the law and said, you can't protest. If you do, you go to jail. Now we got to figure out, what do we do now? We got to make sure we get those people out of office. So it's a lot of things connected together to this. Okay. It's not just one thing. It's a lot of things connected together.
And we're having a discussion. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that I need the community to have a discussion about it. Let's really have a discussion about it.
Right.
So that's the point of me bringing up the topic, because I wanted to make sure that it just doesn't go away. That this, what we're trying to do, right, to make this world a better place for everybody, does not just go away. So, Charles, you want to add to that, or what you feeling?
Well, they keep bringing up the term police reform.
Yeah.
I do, the thing about reform, and they talk about defunding, which I know that makes sense for a lot of people. When you talk about reform, it's still going to come down to that individual, man. We can say all the stuff we want, but you could take away the military guns and a knee killed George Floyd. They didn't get that from the military, so it's going to come down to who in the hell is behind it at that time, whatever goes down. So
it comes down to accountability.
Right. And that's what it starts with that person. Are they going to think twice now? Hopefully that'll be the case. But if they don't give a qualified immunity, they're talking about, a lot of cops won't be cops. Well, there'll be other people that take over their job. I said, but that's the sticking point for a lot of the GOP. They don't want to if these people can be sued for stuff like this, now you're going to have a depletion in the police force, which may happen, or it may bring out better people to be cops. We don't know.
Yeah.
So again, man, as long as racism is profitable, it's here to stay. That's where I see it. So we can come up with everything we can, but it's going to be here, man, until these old heads die out and it gets a little better for everybody. So.
Yeah.
So right now they putting in laws in place and stuff, right? That's what they're doing now. they're putting laws in place to stop a lot of this. Just like now, you remember Warnoff and all them, they won in Georgia and all that. Now they putting voter suppression to make sure that you don't vote. They make sure you don't vote and just say, okay, what's my man Keith Ellison and don't they vote those people in? What was Keith
the
Ellison?
AG?
The AG, don't they vote him in?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
now,
well,
No, the AG is
He's
appointed, and
He's
then
appointed?
they get approved by the Senate.
Okay,
right,
okay,
yeah.
they get
Yeah.
appointed. So the thing is, it all really goes down. Do we have a say about politicians? And we gotta always like I said, I always go back to DeSantis, the governor down in Florida. What all they're doing? They're doing crazy stuff. What they're doing in Texas. It's these politicians, they passing these laws, and we gotta follow the laws. So, if they tell you, okay, they're going to do voter suppression, and then these same people get voted in, they're going to pass laws that's going to restrict us, give police freedom to kill, and nothing happens. So, and it all goes down. We got to have a discussion about how we're going to mend that fence. I'm not worried about, dude getting off and all. I want to see how we're going to mend this fence,
I'm glad that, I'm more worried about the community. Like the thing is like my nephew got to walk around this world, and I'm worried about him, and I'm worried about like how we're treated out there in our own community as they police. They're not getting rid of the police. That's a given. You're not all of a sudden, because when shit go down at your house or out in the streets, and you want the police to come through and do something about it. Ain't nobody gonna walk around, everybody gonna be strapped. That's not gonna happen.
Also too, you want them to be able to do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, you want them to have the resources to do something about it. San Francisco just passed a law, so like affecting the community as a San Francisco, right? I know, and I don't disagree with you. Florida and Texas be doing some crazy stuff, but I am gonna just add in that it's not just that. California, where we're at, has the strictest gun laws in freaking America. Florida actually has they're in the top 10 for the NRA strictest gun law country, like a state, because each state is individually done. Yeah. So, yeah, they are crazy. The individuals are crazy. The decisions that they try to implement, is crazy. But like San Francisco just implemented that the fire department responds to domestic violence calls. Now, what happens? It does not. So and I've heard people, I'm not saying we need to, I hate the term defund, because definitely fees need to be reallocated. And I think not necessarily, I was in the military, so that this is where my mindset's coming from. We were constantly trained every day. I think the best way to weed out the bad or the weak, because I wouldn't even say people, if you volunteer for any type of service like that, you're doing something bigger than yourself at one point, regardless of whether your mindset changes in the beginning. Through it in the beginning, at some point, you're like, I need to do something for my community. I want to be a fireman. I want to be an EMT. I want to be a police officer. I think it's always at some point a little bit of goodwill. So I'm hearing a lot of people say, well, they need to do something different. Portland has a they're doing a test where the police aren't carrying any weapons. Crime has gone up above 500%. And in San Francisco, the same thing is going on. Domestic violence has gone up because they know that the police aren't responding to it. So that's kind of scary as a community and as people. And then my thing is like, well, people are the arguments like, well, you can have a psychologist. Well, what person that goes to school to get their psychology degree is gonna go and be a psychologist? A ride along for $50,000 a year. You know what I mean? They spend all this money on school, and they're not gonna go and do that. And on top of that, they're not going to go and work for LAPD to be a counselor to deem these officers fit. I was just looking right now, we had over 21 shootings by the LAPD alone I didn't look specifically to who, black, white, blue, or orange. But we had 21 shootings within the last week.
Yeah.
You know, we're only on Thursday. So since Sunday, which is the calendar week, there's been 21 shootings.
And
you know, so
I just
it's kind of,
that's what I want. I want to know, like
yeah, like
it's I know it's bigger than us four here. I know we come up with some answer for the world, but I really just want to be like, this is a serious issue, and we need to discuss it and consider it, all of it, you know, because the thing is like, we know if we don't know that person that the cops pulled over, we know somebody who know that person, because it's not like, you know, that just happened to them, you know. And I really want to just, and I have time, so don't this
and and the thing is too is we're not going to have the right answers, you know. You may say something that I disagree with, and I may say something that you disagree with, or we may agree on the same thing. But the people in power, like, people are talking about how the Trump administration was so bad and everything, and it was, you know, there's so much division that went on in our communities, and you know, everything like that. But it hasn't got any better.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if you want to look at it, it's realistically gotten worse. And you're saying, you know, Florida's passing these state laws and everything like that. You know, these state laws still got to get approved. And, you know, I say this about our government is that, you know, when they founded our government with the three arms, you know, basically 2 out of the 3 had to agree. And, you know, it's just like when DACA got removed by President Trump, you know, the Supreme Court overruled that and put it back in. So it's kind of like, you know, at some point, hopefully the checks and balances work its way, because freedom of speech is a big thing. But then the people that are arguing freedom of speech and censorship is huge. You know, the left tries to censor the right tries to censor the left. And they all, no matter what you believe, the right and the left all try to censor us. You know, they're all trying to censor us. They don't want us to have a voice. They don't want us to, you know, I tell people this all the time. If you don't, something doesn't make sense, common sense is an uncommon virtue. But the hardest thing is to understand someone else's opinion and take it in and just understand it. Like, why are you coming from where you're coming from? You know, that anger that you have, that, you know, like you were saying, that person that you knew that got pulled over, who knows that person? You know, it's that type of thing that makes you want to question, and we should be questioning our government. I tell people that all the time. Like, I don't care if you're right, I don't care if you're left, I'm going to question you. And I'm going to question you why you believe that. And hopefully you can bring me in to maybe that thing. But just because I agree with you on that thing doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you on this thing. And that, you know, division causes a lot of division in the community, causes so much division, you know, where people are just not enjoying being around each other just because of what you may believe or what news site you listen to, as opposed to this person.
And honestly, this is not, y'all been on this show. This is not a filtered show. So speak your truth, okay? I do not need anybody to agree with me or disagree. I don't even need it, right? I got a big head, got a lot of crazy thoughts in my own head. I really just want to know your truth and what you stand on, and how are we going to deal with this in our community. So, Will, don't feel like you got to be guarded or guided or nothing like that, because it's not that kind of show. I really want to know how is this impacting you in your community? Because I know you got a 14-year-old kid. You worry about him, right? To the point that you captain defense. You are a superhero in your house. You try to make sure your son is on the straight and narrow. Like, you don't even, like, you just want to make sure that he's safe. So I get it. I get the passion. And I just want to know, you know, what else are you thinking about this issue?
Well, basically, you know, I just, if, you know, me and Chuck talk a lot. I'm more so like, I'm a human being. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's all lost. Because first of all, my dad always taught me. He said, first, you're a human being. He said, second, you're a man. He said, third, you're black. And that's what he told me. And he was like, so many times we take the third rail and put it at the top. Mm-hmm. So that's one reason why you see people get shot down. They're not looking at, we got to look at each other like human beings. First of all, and if we can just stop that and just look at people like human beings, then we'll be okay. But I know when somebody don't see me as a human. And that's where the problem is. The problem is too many people out here who don't look at me as a human and don't look at people.
I don't mean to cut you off, Will. What state are you from, if you don't mind me asking? Are you from Tennessee? I know you said you had a house there.
No, I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philly? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, so you know how it's all about placement, because
Right.
I don't know if you've seen the show where my best friend Chico, me and him grew up together. We've been friends 21 years now. And I'm only 30. So that's a long time of our lives.
Right.
And I told him, from the same thing, I'm like, me growing up here in California, what you speak of, it doesn't make sense to me. Granted, I'm not white, I'm Mexican, but it doesn't make sense to me because I was born in such a diverse place. I was born in my school was 5,000 and the majority of it was minorities, the minority was white, so it's kind of like, but when I first went to Pensacola, Florida, being over there, even though I was on a base there, leaving to go get my haircut in town, it was a little weird. And I understand where you're coming from. And I told Chico that when he got accepted to Claflin University, I'm like, bro, you're gonna see some weird shit. So I was just kind of curious because, people that, and I told Chico, I was like, it's nothing that we really, we experience it here, but it's nothing that people really experience, especially if you're born and raised in Los Angeles County. I mean, it's the most diverse place probably in the nation. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just kind of curious on that.
Yeah. No,
because I could tell. I was like, when you say that, I'm like, you ain't from Cali. Like,
no, but my thing is, if we can, I think we take the human element out of everything when the human element should be number one. Just like we take common sense out of a lot of stuff when common sense should be number one. So, and the thing is, I hate when people put certain things like, just look, believe me, I do follow the law, but some people say the law gives, I have my rights to do this. Come on, we're in a pandemic. We're in a pandemic, wear a mask, but I have my right to do this, and we put our rights, we put our beliefs, we put all that stuff above our brother. And like what you say, you Mexican. You didn't need to tell me that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You're a human being to me. Because when I started lowering myself down to that little rail that you call Mexican, and we started lowering our rail down to what I call black, then we done lost all the essence of being a human being. See, I got to see you as a human being first. And that's why I feel like the problem, Karima, is we don't see each other like human beings. Like when I see it covered on the news, another black man shot. When are they going to look at us like a human being? George Floyd had a knee on his neck. Did you ever look at it? Forget what color Chauvin is. Did you see that there was another human being with another knee on a human being's neck? And the reason why we always say Black Lives Matter, because it seems like we not looked at as human beings. And the only thing, just like Malcolm used to say, I don't, civil rights, human rights. And just like one of my favorite quotes was in a movie. I don't know if Karima, you're an art guy. You ever heard of the movie or seen the movie The Elephant Man?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
The Elephant Man. What did he say? I'm not an animal. I am a human being. And, and that's what, and my thoughts, when you ask me my thoughts, that's my thoughts. I'm not an animal. I am a human being. Treat me like a human being. And basically, and I just feel like if we can get to a point where white people can see us as human beings, which is hard because you remember the history.
Yeah.
The history plays a whole big part of it. It's just like having a little brother. You beat up your little brother all the time, and when your big little brother raised up and finally beat you, you're gonna like, who you think you is now? Or he act like he want to take. Who you think you are now? Because you never looked at him as your equal. And the problem is, to solve this problem, man, we just, first of all, we're gonna have to look at each other as an equal, and basically, like, I've kind of like reach out to people who can understand me and hear me. And we group up, and my thing is, it's like, I don't know, this ain't the right thing to say, but I just feel like some people need to be terminated, period. Because when you sitting up there and you doing harm, you need to be terminated. You need to be put away. You don't even need to be in society. Because just like that Derek Chauvin case, that should have been open and shut. There was no reason for us to spend
no
3 weeks.
Process.
Huh?
Yeah, there shouldn't have been no due process with that guy.
Right. And that's common sense. And you see how we throw common sense out the window? That's common sense. We all agree with that, man. I'm like, and then, but yet you got Tucker Carlson talking about, oh, the jury was scared it was going to be a riot. That's why he got off. But didn't you see the video?
Man, but that's Fox TV, man. That's that's propaganda TV right there, man. That is worse. So you got to take what they say with a grain of salt. They so full of shit. Especially when he's just on his show and says he's not even.
They got an
I'm gonna play this. Devil's advocate real quick though. For the common sense aspect, Karima knows. Common sense is my thing. My favorite line in history is common sense is an uncommon virtue. And you touched on another point. I'm a history major, and who do I always say is the most influential? And I say he's the most influential person in history. I don't say black man, I don't say white man, I don't say anything. The most influential person in history especially the amount of time that he lived is Malcolm X. I've said that for years. I've studied his work for years. Like, that's my man. I love that guy. I'll go to fight for that guy any day. So I feel like he was one of the most influential people in history from the beginning of time. Especially from what he spoke in that short amount of time. So I appreciate you saying that, because I was like, ooh, Malcolm X. I heard that. I was like, my eyes sparked up. But to play the devil's advocate on what you're saying about open and shut, right? Or common sense. For the unfortunate situation where that young girl got shot, right? Where they released the body cam footage. And this is why we have body cam footage now. You know what I mean? Those cameras that officers have to wear that they shouldn't be covering up. You have a 14-year-old son. She was what, 14, I think?
16.
16. Okay, yeah. And she was in the act of stabbing someone.
Yeah.
If she's in the act of stabbing someone and that cop made the decision not to do something.
Right.
And that other and then I'm not even thinking about that. Because my biggest thing is, like, I think about families. I think about you as a father, me as an uncle, Karima as an uncle. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think about, So what would that other girl, it was another female that she was trying to stab, right? Mm-hmm. What was that other person's family? What would their mom say to that cop? Why didn't you save my daughter? You were right there. You could, right?
You're not playing devil's advocate. We're on the same side. See, that's what I'm saying. We got to get we can't lump all these things into one.
Yeah, it's not one.
And that's a different, because me and Chuck talked about that earlier. Because if that had been my daughter up against the car getting ready to get stabbed, I would want that cop to do the same thing. So
you were shot.
See, what we got to do, we got to talk to the intelligent people. See, we can't be listening to these people who all one-sided and blinded and got an opinion regardless of if the sky is red, they're going to say the sky is blue. No, just.
But what about the platform?
No, my thing is the intelligent, what Karima was trying, we got together to have intelligent conversations, and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure we all agree on that. We all agree on that. And we can't lump all this stuff into one. That's why when you hear me at the beginning, you hear me talk about Columbus, Ohio, there was a police shooting. Yep. You heard me talk about 2 people, right?
Yeah, I heard you talk
Andre
about
Hill
all 3.
And Casey Goodson.
Yeah,
You
and
know
then
why?
and then obviously there's
Right. And
looked
this
I looked
other
at
one, I
those.
wasn't talking
Yeah.
about that because that
Yeah,
was
no,
just something that just got out of hand. I do not say that, you know. And
it was the one that triggered like, you know, that sort of thing, but those other ones had already
what
been
I'm saying, it's almost like what you were saying earlier about the OJ. People are not, they wasn't celebrating because of OJ. People are not in Columbus are not protesting because of her. They protesting because there was 2 more previous cases that unarmed people was killed.
Yeah, yeah.
So now,
And I heard about the kid with the sandwich too.
yeah, and just like now this third, and everybody putting the spotlight on it. I hate that they putting the spotlight on it, you know, because of course we all agree, you know, hey, the cop had to do it.
Just to make sure it's a balanced conversation. Charles is chomping at the bit. I can see him. His eyes is wandering all over the place. He's like, I got something to say. What you got to say, Charles? What you got?
No, I was going to agree with Will because it's 2 different situations. I mean, you know, I got into it with this sister online about, you know, and I mainly see the women, the black women getting upset over what's the name, Micaiah Wright, and rightfully so. So I don't jump on them, but a lot of them say, well, why did they shoot the wound? And some girl said, why didn't they shoot in the air, give her a warning shot? And I said, well, police officers aren't allowed to shoot in the air. That's just not how it works. I said, we get too many cues from TVs and movies and think that's how it's supposed to go in real life. You don't shoot the wound, you go center mass. You talk center mass when you shoot. You don't say, well, let me shoot her in the hand and knock the knife out. I mean, come on, man. I mean, some of the stuff was ridiculous. So when I first heard about it, I was like, wow, that's messed up. Then when I saw the body cam, I was like, whoa, she's swinging that knife like she's Zorro up in this bitch. You know, and I was like, yeah, I see why he took the shot. And it's even more dangerous because the girl in the pink was in the same line of fire. So the fact that he hit that chick, I think 4 may have been excessive, but I can't really say that because of the situation at hand. But she, you know, something had to be get done. And someone said, what about a taser? Well, he was at a distance, and the tasers both of them need to stick to you to work. You just can't have one prong in and the other one out. It's just not going to work. So they said, I think they said from the time you arrived on scene and the time the whole thing ended was 12 seconds. Think about that.
It was right when he got out of the car.
Right. 12 seconds to all that shit took place. I was like, come on, man. I was like, I know it looks bad. The optics is always what I'm talking about. I know it looks bad. But the flip side is he probably saved a black woman. He took a black life, but he probably saved a black life. And did you want him to sit there wait and see what happens and then pick and choose? So I said to everybody, I said, let's not look at it through the optics of how we normally look at it. Let's take this one as you see it, as it happens right there on the spot. And I tell everybody, if that was your daughter in the pink and you had your gun, are you shooting the girl? Or are you going to be like, well, maybe she won't stab her that bad. No, you're going to take that girl out. Right. The cop just did your job for you. That's all that was. So
and there was actually 2 girls, right?
Yeah.
There was one girl that fell, and then she went after the one girl that fell on the sidewalk, then went after the girl in the pink.